How's it going, all you beautiful people? I vended at a car show this past weekend, and I'm considering it the first car show that I vended at. I vended at a car show last year, but I was given less than a 24-hour notice that there was a table available for me to vend at, so I kind of just went with the flow with that one. But for this car show this past weekend, I knew that it was coming up, and I prepared for it fully. So I'm considering it the first car show that I vended at. And I'm not an expert vendor. I haven't been vending for years. I haven't vended many shows. I mean, this was my first weekend where I prepared for a car show fully. So I do have some tips and tricks as a new vendor for people that want to go into vending, but I'm going to do that in a separate video. This video, I'm going to go over the numbers while I vended. And I'm going to be fully transparent about it. I know talking about numbers is touchy for some people and they don't like to share certain numbers, or it's a weird subject for others. But I do this as a for fun part time thing. And I have a full time job. I don't plan on quitting my job anytime soon or ever. And yeah, I mean, because of that, I don't really mind sharing my numbers. There were people while I was vending that came to my table and asked certain questions about how much I've sold or how much the table was to rent, and I'm fully comfortable sharing it all. So if you like that kind of content, feel free to follow my journey on YouTube, on Instagram, or TikTok. It's TCG Collectors House, and I'd love your support, your follow, your subscription, just anything, your comments, your likes. But anyways, let's get into some numbers. So it was a 2-day show, and I'm going to put it up on the screen. But the first day, I sold $750 worth of items. The second day, I sold $650 worth of items. So that's a total of $1,400 sold across the 2 days. Trade wise, the first day, 1 trade. The second day, 2 trades. That's a total of 3 trades. I'll go a little more into detail about why I think there are only 3 trades, and it'll make sense later. Transactions, there were 35 transactions the first day, 34 transactions the second day. So 69 transactions across the 2 days. And then I bought some stuff from other people that came to my table. I bought $95 worth the first day, and the second day I bought $363 for a total of $458 that I bought. So the average dollar per transactions, there were $1,400 of sales, 69 transactions. So that's about $20.29 a transaction. And one transaction could have had multiple cards. Sometimes it was just one card. But this is why I think there weren't that many trades. So a little bit of background. I had about $10,000 worth of singles and slabs. I wasn't able to price out everything. So on my display, in my binders, there are probably anywhere between $6,000 to $7,000 worth of items. So that's kind of my inventory that I brought. But majority of those items were $1 to $20 cards. So most of the things that I sold were probably in the $1 to $10 range. So there weren't that many big buys, and I feel like when people do trades, it's usually a $350 card, and they don't want to pay the $350, so they trade a couple of their cards, and then they pay cash on top. So I think that's why there weren't that many trades for me. It was a lot of lower end singles that people were buying. So let's get into more of the numbers. So a cost for one table for 1 day was $100. So it was $200 across the 2 days. I sold $1,400, and the margins, I don't know how much I spent for all the cards because I didn't write that down, but I'm going to be generous and say the margins were 25%. If I was getting audited or something and I had to get as close to the number as possible, I would assume it's closer to 20%, but let's just be generous and say 25%. So that leads me to $350 of net profit after how much I sold and how much I spent, how much the margins are. And from that $350, $200 I spent on the cost of the table. So that's $150 net profit. And this doesn't take into consideration gas, stickers that I put on cards with the pricing, markers, top loaders, sleeves, things like that. But this is just a very simple level. So $150 net profit, and I probably spent about 40 hours preparing for this card show. You might be like, what did you do for 40 hours? And that's just in this 1 week leading up to the card show. And for about 25 of the hours, I organized all my singles. Nothing was priced out. I organized all my slabs. And then I went on TCG Player one by one, got the price, wrote the price on a sticker, and then put the sticker on the top loader and went to the next card. And this took a long time because although I only have about $10,000 worth of singles and slabs that I brought, a lot of those are $1 to $10 cards, a lot of $1 cards, a lot of $2 cards. So it's a lot of cards. I probably priced over 1,000 cards. And with that, I didn't even finish pricing everything out. So I work a full time job. So I woke up on Wednesday, worked, and then stayed up until about 4 a.m. pricing cards, slept, woke up on Thursday, worked, did other errands, and then stayed up until 4 a.m. pricing cards out, and then slept. And then Friday came, and I worked, and I priced cards until about midnight. But at that point, I was like, I can't sleep at 4 a.m. again because I don't want to be dead during the event, and I had to get to the show to set up at around 8:30, so I knew I had to wake up around 7:30. So I just slept around 1 a.m. So I took everything that I priced, put it in binders, put it on the side, and so I was gonna put it on my display case once I got there. Then the rest of the items I was just gonna take, and I wasn't gonna display them just because there's no price on them. So I was okay with that. So I probably had about $6,000 to $7,000 worth of cards that I had displayed, and yeah, that's the 40 hours. But so you take the $150, you divide it by 40 hours, and in that 40 hours, 25 hours prepping for the card show, pricing out cards, and then about 15, 16 hours setting up, being at the card show, and then breaking down everything. So that breaks down to about $3.75 per hour. Yeah, I'm about to retire with this. I just put in my 2 week notice and my full time job too. I'm just kidding, but this is what I made, I guess, preparing for 40 hours and then going to the show. So, can you become a full time person doing this? Of course you can. I talked to a lot of vendors who do this full time. But I think in order to do this full time, you either need one of two things, or probably both things. One, you need very high volume. You need to be able to buy things from other people at a high rate and then sell things at a high rate. And you also need a lot bigger portfolio than I think $10,000, unless you're flipping just so many items. Because I sold $750 the first day, $650 the second day. A lot of people will sell a $750 card, multiple of them at a card show. So if I had 50 $750 cards, the chance of me selling one of those $750 cards is more likely than, I mean, I didn't even have a $750 card on my display, but let's just say I had one. Like the chance of selling that one is a lot more unlikely than to sell one if I had a lot of $750 cards. So that is another thing to keep in mind. Like I'm sure there's a lot of vendors that sold way more than me. I mean, the table next to me had a deal for $15,000 that they sold. So I mean, a lot of people make more money. But this is coming from someone that brought about $10,000 worth of singles and slabs, had about $6,000 to $7,000 displayed, and then majority of my cards were $1 to $10. So you take the $150 net profit. I bought about $458 worth of cards, and I ended up losing $308. And obviously, I'm planning on selling the $458 that I bought, and I didn't buy those at 100%. So I'll be making margins on that once I sell it. But even outside of that, I mean, making $150 net profit for 40 hours, if you're thinking about it strictly from a money perspective, that's for sure not worth it. But with that, like I said, I work a full time job. I do this for fun. I'm doing this because I'm trying to grow my social media pages. I'm trying to document my journey. And then I love meeting people. I love meeting people that come to my table. I love meeting other vendors, other people on this Pokemon journey. So those are the reasons why I'm doing this. But with that, I'm going to be vending at SD Collectibles this weekend. So it's at Liberty Station in San Diego, Saturday, Sunday, 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. So if you're going to be there, drop by and say hi. But even knowing that I made $3.75 and my inventory is not really going to change this coming weekend because I'm, at least at this point, I don't have anything to buy from other people. So I'm going to bring everything I still have left over. I'm still going to do it again just because I think it was a lot of fun. I talked to probably over 100 people. I have all my interactions documented on camera, a lot of good interactions, a lot of cute interactions that I'll be using for content later as well. And I'm just having a lot of fun with this. Like, it's not about the money to me. Obviously, to anyone in life, making money, extra money is nice. I mean, getting financial freedom is nice, but I have a stable full-time job. I don't plan on quitting it. So my main motivator for doing this is for fun, to see if I can grow something on my own, my social media pages, and maybe I'll see, my Pokemon, I guess, like finances grow as well, because as you vend more, you'll buy stuff, you'll sell it. With that profit, you'll buy more stuff. So eventually your inventory will grow over time. But the main thing for me is just like meeting people. I think I've had a lot of fun interacting with people, meeting other vendors. I saw some vendors this time around at SD Card Show this past weekend where I've met them previously and I got to go and say hi to them again. I met a couple of new vendors that I'll pretty sure I'll see in future card shows that I'll be able to go to and be like, oh, hey, how's it going? So that's the reason why I'm doing this. It's a lot of fun. It's not for the money. I think you can make a lot of money in this Pokemon market doing this, but it is a lot of work. I think a lot of people think that you can just get your collection, do nothing, take it to a card show, and then make $1 million, but that's not really how it works. So, like I said, it's just for fun. But anyways, if you watched up to this point, I'm going to be documenting my journey. I'm going to have another video sharing my thoughts, things that I've learned, tips, and for new vendors that want to vend, maybe some things that I can give you some encouragement on as well. And if you like this, and if you want to follow along on my journey, feel free to subscribe to my YouTube, follow me on Instagram and TikTok. They're all TCG Collectors House. I really appreciate all the support. Your support goes a long way in supporting a small channel like mine. And I hope that as I go through this journey, I'll also be able to see some growth in video quality, editing, because I wasn't really a social media person growing up. I never really posted much, but I've been having a lot of fun with it. So I'm just kind of doing it. This is something I wanted to do, seeing where it goes. So I really appreciate everyone that supports me along the way, will support me in the future. But thank you so much for watching this video. I will have more videos talking about my vending journey. But until then, I hope you have a great rest of your day.